first, because I know you're obviously a valued client of ours. I'm just wondering, what was your main reasoning behind choosing us as Belvoir?
What, back when I first started working with you guys?
Back in the day, yeah.
I think the initial reason was the fact that I became a bit of an accidental landlord, really, in that I'd been trying to sell my property, the Sunderland Place property. My wife and I were going to move, and we sold the property 3 or 4 times only for it to fall through. Right. Largely because the estate agent was selling the property to people that probably wanted it. It was just outside their price range.
Yeah.
And in the end, I got so fed up of losing out on properties that we wanted to buy, we ended up renting it out. And we were moving out of the immediate area, so needed somebody to look after it. And Zoe and a colleague of hers, came round promptly, and yeah, we just sort of hit it off from there. So we didn't know of Belvoir before. I think two letting agencies came round to talk to us, but Zoe just came across as being very personable and genuinely wanted us to be a client, but it was clear that she also wanted to help us.
Yeah.
And it kind of went from there. And then when I had the opportunity to acquire another couple of properties in order to expand the portfolio, I actually used you guys to help me find the properties. Because by that stage, you'd started moving into, Nigel had come on board, and you were starting to look at the estate agency side as well. And so, yeah, the other properties, you guys kind of helped me get them for the right price. Okay. So it was kind of natural that you were going to look after them. And to be fair, it would, although price is important in getting value for money, it would take a huge amount for me to not have you guys looking after the properties.
Leading on from that as well, I've just got another question. If there was one thing that, because we're always looking to improve ourselves as a business as well, if there were one thing that we could do to improve, have you had a chance to have a think about what we could do that could help us going forwards at all?
I think it's difficult to say that there's something that you could improve on in terms of your kind of day-to-day service, because I genuinely don't think you could do a lot more for me in so far of that. Not living locally, I let you do the vast. I'm fairly hands-off day to day, but everything that you do, I think, is absolutely spot on. I think one thing where, as a landlord, I sometimes feel slightly vulnerable, and this isn't as a result of anything you do, but it's an area where I think potentially you could expand on. I've got one of my properties, the management company are quite poor.
Right.
And that often means that the communal area of the property detracts from the property itself. It's not kept in good order, and therefore first impressions opening the communal front door aren't good. Now, Zoe in the past has given me some good guidance as to what I may be able to do myself, but that's probably the one area that I underestimated when I bought a couple of flats, was that I could have them decorated brilliantly, and you guys could price them right, and I could do everything right by the tenant in terms of making sure that all maintenance issues were dealt with.
Yeah.
But if the management company, for whatever reason, were quite slack in their role of keeping the outside and the communal areas nice, that potentially would cost me tenants.
A lot more. Yeah.
So it's not something that I think you guys. I appreciate it isn't your responsibility, If there was, but I think it's an area where, you know, if I was looking for one thing where maybe I could get more for you for the fees that I pay you, which are very, which I think are absolute value for money, it would be that when I get problems with your feedback telling me that the reason that somebody has not taken a property is because the communal area is not up to standard, using your clout, if you like, your experience to help force the hand of the management company so that they will address their shortcomings, would be one thing that I would find very valuable. But like I say, I know that's not your core responsibility, but you know, when you chase a management company and they just say, oh, we haven't got any money to get the work done, or it's on our to-do list, and then nothing happens, you know, you feel a little bit vulnerable. So yeah, that would be one thing that if your service could in any way help facilitate those problem scenarios, they, you know, that would ease some of the stress when, you know, because it's disheartening when you go, I've shown somebody around the property, they loved it, but because the communal area is rubbish, they're going to go and rent somewhere else. And it's like, well, what do I do now then?
It's frustrating, isn't it? It's ultimately, it's out of your control, the communal areas, isn't it? And like you say, it's all down to that poor block management company. Like, if they're not providing the service that you should expect for what you pay them as well. So it's frustrating, isn't it, from that side of things? But yeah,
yeah, it is. And it's one of those things where, you know, when I had that issue last, you know, Zoe was very, very good in letting me know kind of what my rights were, and where I might be, through frustration, what I needed to avoid, you know, so that I was maybe in breach of my kind of obligations. You know, you're very easy to go, right, well, I'm not going to pay the service charge then if you're not going to look after the property. But that's a very simplistic reaction, which isn't necessarily the right one. But in my particular case, it got resolved because somebody saw beyond the communal area and rented the property. And of course that kind of puts it on the back burner. But if that person hadn't seen through it, at what point do I say my asset has become worthless because I can't rent it out?
We're looking at, hopefully in the very near future, trying to get on board and learning the block management side of things, and to see if we could look at helping out and take on blocks, obviously like one that you've got one of your flats in, to see if we could provide a service that's obviously better than some that are out there, because we know some block management companies are very poor at what they're doing. They're not in the area, or for whatever reason they've just not got the time of day to deal with it, and that's something that hopefully we can look at focusing on to bring in to help out, let's say, landlords like yourself going forwards in terms of the communal areas, and get them up to scratch and up to the condition that we should expect them to be in. So
and I think if your service expanded to that, I can't see that you'd get any, you know, anything other than support from landlords. It was just something that, looking back, I probably underestimated how much of an impact that particular issue might have. I just naively assumed, because my previous property was freehold, you know, I just naively assumed that communal areas would always be at a good standard if tenants or landlords were paying a service charge. And the other leasehold property, they're as good as gold. You know, the service charge is low, everything's done perfectly, not a problem. It's just this one. So yeah, that's good. That's good to know that you're aware, if you like, of the stress that potentially causes.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say that's it. And I think it's things like that that's made us realise as a company it's causing stress for landlords. So that's why we're wanting to try and open up to be able to see if we can offer a service that is better. But like I say, the first steps first, just getting the experience and getting the knowledge to be able to do that before jumping the gun and just jumping straight into it. So yeah, we'll see how things go in the coming months, I suppose, to what we can like propose and generate forwards. So yeah, it'd be very interesting. Watch this space on that one.
I certainly will do.
But yeah, no, thank you very much for that, Simon. I really do appreciate your time for doing that for us. So I'm sure we'll speak very soon with regards to anything that we do going forwards as well.
Yeah, that would be good. And I think although I don't join many of your kind of events that you put on, generally speaking, because of my own work commitments, and if I've got a problem like you, I do appreciate that you put them on. I think you are very visible, and I think in times like these, whatever service you provide to clients, it's sometimes quite easy to just retrench and go, well, I'm not going to speak to people because they're going to be unhappy or whatever. And you see that in business all the time, where people naively don't reach out to their clients in times of uncertainty. So although I've probably got a very low uptake of responding to some of the events that you put on, I very much appreciate that you are still reaching out there. I know that you are there if I want to talk to you, and it's only my very hectic work life that perhaps prevents me getting more involved in those things. But that's why I pay you guys to manage everything, because I don't have the time.
Yeah, that's what we're here for at the end of the day. We're here to, let's say, help you out wherever we can, really. So we're more than happy just carrying on doing what we're doing. And let's say they are there if you do ever have this free time to jump on any of the things that we do. Like I say, by all means, just jump on them. But again, let's say if you can't for whatever reason, so we totally understand that as well. That's not a problem.
All right.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Great stuff. Yeah, I'll leave you to it. If you've got anything else, let us know. Say what we'll do, let you get off and then, well, enjoy your day best you can, I suppose.